So as a preliminary matter, this is Larry Murphy, Chair of the Newbury Planning Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Planning Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Peter Pecos,
Yes.
Woody Knight,
Yes.
Mary Stone.
Yes.
In-town staff, when I call your name, please respond. Martha Taylor, Planning Director.
Yes.
Kristen Grubbs, Assistant Town Planner.
Yes.
And anticipated speakers, Emily Innes of Innes Associates.
Yes.
Thank you. So this November 8th, 2023 special open meeting of the Newbury Planning Board has been conducted remotely, consistent with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, which extends the Governor's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, until March 31, 2025. This order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location and allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Newbury Planning Board is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the Planning Board's agenda, which can be found on the town's website and which identifies how the public may join. You may join us by going to http://zoom.us and entering meeting ID 832-714-13056, passcode 108790, or by calling 1-929-205-6099 US and entering the meeting ID number and password when prompted. Excuse me one second. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that the attendees are participating by video and/or telephone conference. This meeting is also being broadcast live through Local Access Channel 9 on Zoom and at www.tnctv.org, and the recording will be available on the Newbury Access YouTube channel. Meeting materials were provided to the board members prior to the meeting for review. Please permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. As chair, I will introduce each speaker. After speakers conclude their remarks, I will go down the list of board members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, for all attendees except board members and staff, please remember to mute your computer using your mute button, or on your phone, *6 to toggle mute or unmute when you're not speaking. Please use earbuds or earphones with tablets or cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that video participants can see you and that you should take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If board members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through me, taking care to identify yourself when you wish to speak. And please note that each vote taken at this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So we're meeting tonight to review the final draft of the master plan update and consider adoption of the plan. Update of the 2006 master plan was initiated in the summer of 2015 with establishment of a master plan steering committee consisting of town board and committee members, which incidentally included Martha and Pete, town staff, and interested members of the public. In September 2015, the town engaged a master plan consultant, Community Opportunities Group, or SCOG, to lead the public engagement process, collect demographic data, and prepare a background and existing conditions analysis, draft the housing, economic development, and land use elements of the plan, and prepare a 5-year strategy plan. The steering committee, in conjunction with town staff and other board and committee members, was responsible for drafting the community facilities, historic and cultural resources, and natural resources elements of the plan. COG and the master plan committee held steering committee meetings, focus groups, individual stakeholder reviews, and public forums, and distributed an extensive survey questionnaire to solicit input from town employees, elected officials, and the general public. The Merrimack Valley Planning Commission provided support throughout the process by developing maps, providing technical assistance, preparing the transportation element, and providing input in the housing, economic, and natural resources elements of the plan. At the end of 2021, the town brought in Emily Innes of Innes Associates as a consultant to update the census-based data in the draft plan, incorporate the results of other planning processes and have taken place over the past few years, excuse me, such as the municipal vulnerability plan, and assemble all the draft elements into the final plan. Emily is with us tonight. She has extensive experience in planning and urban design. Emily started with the Cecil Group in 2010 and moved to Harriman Associates in 2015. Emily became Harriman's Director of Planning in 2019 and led their urban design studio. In 2020, Emily founded Innes Associates of Newburyport. Emily continues her work consulting with communities, state agencies, and private clients throughout New England. And Emily is also a resident of Newbury. For Newbury's master plan, she has updated the information previously compiled and incorporated information from other planning efforts conducted over the past few years. She's updated the census-based data, assembled all of the draft sections into the final plan, administered an online public survey, conducted a public forum on the master plan in June, which involved significant public participation and feedback, and prepared a 57-page addendum of survey results and public comments. So tonight it's time for the planning board to take up its responsibility in reviewing this final draft of the plan. So we will not be taking public input tonight. And tonight should be reserved for the deliberations of the board. Before we move into that, I would also like to acknowledge the tremendous effort and energy that both Martha Taylor and Kristen Grubbs have put into this effort. Martha, of course, has been involved since the original working group in 2006, and Kristen's been an invaluable asset since she's joined the team. So I want to, on behalf of the board, and I think I can speak for the entire board, we want to thank you for a magnificent effort. I know you both individually or collectively spent hundreds of hours in meetings working with officials, consultants, interested parties, and the general public, and we wouldn't have been able to get here without you. So thank you for your effort, both of you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
So Emily, let me start with you. You did prepare for us a memo of the changes that were made to the draft from the June meeting. Is there anything you'd like to add to that before I turn to the board members?
Yes, just a couple of things. First of all, I want to echo your commendation of Martha and Kristen. They were a real pleasure to work with. And I would also just like to add, it is clear that this planning process was a huge team effort, stretching across numerous consultants, but more importantly, numerous residents who participated both in your original planning process in 2016, and then at a point in a planning process when you would expect many people to have lost interest, came together for that community forum in June, which did have great participation. You had 113 comments on the survey, and you had quite a few dedicated people do some significant review of the draft and provide additional comments. We recorded those and addressed as many as we could, given the fact that we were starting with a significant body of work that had already been done, and understanding that this planning effort did span many years. So we tried to address everything. I think at this point you have a document that allows the town to complete, with the planning board to vote tonight, if the members choose to vote tonight, complete one part of a process, but actually begin the next part of the process. So it's not like you're finished when you adopt a comprehensive plan or adopt a master plan. Your work is really beginning to start, and that is the implementation. And I think you have you as a town have a couple of early decisions to make. One of those is in concert with the select board deciding whether or not to appoint a master plan implementation committee. And there's certainly some good discussions that could happen around that.
Well, Emily, you're muted.
My computer just muted me. I think it's saying I talked too long. But I'll finish off these thoughts. So the idea of prioritization, certainly as we saw in the public comments, both in person, from the survey and from people who wrote in, there are different ideas about which projects should move to the fore and which should maybe take longer, or which actions or policies should move to the fore. So I think that's an important discussion. And I think the other thing that's really clear is that people are very passionate about the parts of the plan that speak to them. And I do want to stress that in this next stage, there is ample opportunity for residents to continue to be involved with those issues that are important to them. In addition to the plan providing guidance around future policies, future budget decisions, future grant opportunities, and being able to support those. It does provide guidance to residents who really want to get involved with their town, but weren't sure quite how. I think there's plenty in this plan for people to say, you know what, I'm really concerned about X, or I'm really intrigued about Y. Contacting the town and asking how they can get involved would be a great way of doing that. So I think you've got a solid framework for future actions. We were saying, you know, the idea that the 400th anniversary is coming up in 12 years kind of gives a nice timeline for thinking about what to implement and how. You know, what do people want to see of their community in 2035? I think the other thing that, you know, is important is understanding that the 2006 plan, about a third of those actions got done before you started the renewal of the master plan. And so thinking which third have priority for this effort, maybe more is a good one. So in all seriousness, you're at a wonderful point for a town. It's an exciting place to be, is, you know, this opportunity to say, are we ready to adopt this? What does adopting it mean, and where do we go from here? So thank you for involving me. It's been a real privilege, and I've enjoyed working with all of you and with the community.
Oh, thank you, Emily. Martha or Kristen, is anything you wanted to say before I turn to the board members?
Well, I would just like to say it's really been a pleasure to work with Emily on finishing this up. I mean, she came in at a point where we had lots of bits and pieces that were in various states of completion, and she's done a wonderful job in sort of incorporating all of those into the final plan and updating the information and going through work that's been done, like as was mentioned before, the municipal vulnerability plan, and you know, sort of the whole climate change section, which was really missing from our 2006 plan for sure, and not even as much of a focus when we started this particular planning effort. So it's been a tremendous amount of work that she's done to really pull this all together and, you know, listen carefully to all the voices and all the comments. So I think, you know, it's been a tremendous amount of input into this plan. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right, board members, what I thought I would do is first give you the opportunity to ask any questions of Emily or Martha, or Kristen, or myself for that matter, at this point. And then afterwards, I want to just get a sense of how you want to proceed. I'm not going to even attempt to summarize briefly this 300-page document, and I just want to get a sense. Anyway, Pete, why don't we start with you? Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. You know, as we've mentioned, this has been a work in progress for quite some time, and two different consultants. And Emily, it's great not only, you know, to have you as our consultant, but, you know, as a community, you know, being from this community, living in this community is another component that I think is very, very valuable to this effort. There's a lot of great stuff in here. There's a lot of stuff to do in the future. This is a living document, will be a living document. It's meant to be a guide, and there's lots of room for involvement. And as Emily said, I think, you know, this is a great way to bring us to our next milestone, which will be our anniversary. So it's all good stuff, and it's been a great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Woody, anything you like to? You have any questions or anything you'd like to add?
I don't have any questions either, other than I'd like to thank everyone who compiled this. So I've been through the whole thing, and it's a long read, and there's a lot of information in there to digest, and it's, I think it's great, and it's great that we have it together, and I think that we should move to use it in the future. As Pete said, it's a living document, so that's all. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Woody. And Mary?
Yes, Emily, thanks a lot. Martha, Kristen, thank you. Thank you to everyone in town participated, because you're where the action is, you guys. You residents of Newbury. Emily, thanks for living in Byfield. Hey. Nice town, huh? Nice parish. I have a question. Well, also I want to say that it's very, very great. It's so great for Newbury to have this master plan. It was one of the first things that I thought of when I joined the planning board. Is that, yikes, you know, let's go. It's a brand new town. It's really changed, and it's going to change more. And I think the word living has been used a lot. I'm going to use it again. Pete said it. Larry said it. Emily said it. I'm sure Martha said it in there somewhere. But this is not over. This town is in many good ways exploding. And I don't mean just new residents. I mean, just culturally, within the confines of education, and it's just terrific. And Science Center that went into the Governor's Academy, all these things are going on. Sorry, I've been on too long, but I do have a quick question for Emily. So thanks, guys. Thanks a million. And thank you to all the people who participated in town. We really appreciate it. Keep doing it, because got to move along. Emily, quick question. In your work with other communities, did you get as good or as numerous a number of responses as you seem to have gotten here? I just like a comparison. Thank you.
That's a good question. I do work with communities of very different sizes. So, you know, what might be, you know, I might get more responses from a community, but it also happens to be twice as large. So I will say of the, you know, the community engagement at this last stage of the process, I was particularly impressed by, because usually the path of most planning projects is you get everybody comes to the first meeting, and then you get a reasonable representation at the second meeting, and then by the time you get to the draft plan, people are like, oh, I don't remember this. I thought we went to all the meetings. What's going on? So for me to see that you started in 2016, I saw that you had a great response to that first survey. You know, it looked like there was participation all the way through, to have gone through a pandemic, to have been finishing this up after sort of that stop. And then for people to still be interested in it and take the time at the end of June, which is a tough time of year, and to take the time to respond to a survey at the end of June, beginning of July, also a tough time of year to catch people's attentions. I thought that was telling in terms of participation. So, you know, I was very impressed, and I hope that bodes well for people continuing to be involved as the planning board, the select board, the other partners that are listed in the implementation plan start to think about what their next actions are.
Okay, thank you, Emily.
Thanks, Emily.
Anything further, Mary?
Nope, just rock and roll. Let's get it done, guys.
And I'll just ask the members, is there any particular section of the plan you'd like to go over at this point? Anyone?
No, I
No.
don't.
I guess not. No, it's a very, in a good way, a very ambitious plan. I went through, and you know, of the various goals, I think I counted, and I did have my calculator piece with me. That's an inside joke. We were just talking about technology before the meeting went was called to order. I came up with 187 identified actions in support of the various goals, of which something like 66 are involved the planning department. And of those, 28 of which are identified as high priority. So it's ambitious, and we've set a task for ourselves in a good way. The implementation obviously is going to be critical, and I know one of the recommendations is an implementation committee, and that's something that ultimately we would need to speak to the with the select board about. But I think that's a wonderful suggestion. But one thing that struck me is if you look at the goals on the higher level, forget the action items to meet those goals. I don't think I couldn't find anything that anyone could seriously object to. I think they're all moving the town in the right direction.
Yeah.
You might argue about the action items and whether this is the best way to approach this problem, or something would be there'd be a better way to approach the problem. But I think the goals themselves are all reasonable and hopefully achievable. So all of that said, am I hearing that we're ready to take a vote on this?
Ready?
Okay. That said, would anyone care to approve and adopt the master plan as presented?
I would.
Thank you, Pete. Is there a second?
Second,
I think I heard Mary first, so we'll give Mary the credit. And is there any discussion on the motion to adopt the plan, Pete? Any discussion? No. Woody, any discussion?
no,
Mary, any discussion? Nothing from me. All right, then, Pete, how do you vote on the motion?
Yes.
Woody, how do you vote on the motion?
yes,
Mary, how do you vote on the motion?
Absolutely, yes.
I vote yes as well, so it's unanimous. So that concludes the agenda for this evening. Unless anyone has anything else they'd like to add, I'd call for a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Larry.
No motion to adjourn? Or was that a motion to adjourn, Mary?
What's the motion to adjourn? Sorry, I should have been more
Thank you.
specific.
Is there a second?
second,
Thank you, Woody. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? All right, then Pete, how do you vote?
Yes.
Woody, how do you vote?
yes, and good night, everyone.
Mary, how do you vote?
I do vote yes.
And I vote yes as well. And thank you all very, very much for all the time and effort that you put into this.